What's your "I'm not even supposed to be here today" story? So I got called into work one day back when I was working customer service. The girl that had been working that day was in a car crash on the way into work, so I wasn't upset about coming in, just worried for her. Anyway, not 5 minutes after I arrived and clocked in, a lady who looked homeless and absolutely reeked of body odor came in. I worked at a members-only wholesale store, so you had to pay a $45 flat fee before you could purchase a single item from the store. This lady came in, wandered around for a minute or two, and then made her way to my counter. Thus started the most bizarre exchange I think I've ever had at a retail store. Her, "Do you sell animals?" Me, no, this is a wholesale store." Her, "Y'all don't sell chickens? What about just chicks?" Me, "Nope, neither of those. We do sell eggs, but they're unfertilized." Her, well, do you sell cabbage and hot dogs?" Me, "You bet. Do you have a membership? I'll be glad to set you up and get you ready to shop." Her, "Oh, no, I couldn't possibly. I gotta save my bucks for chickens and hot dogs. Can't have one without the other, or the cabbage. I'll try Walmart, I guess. You think they have chickens there? They probably do. I'll go there." And she mumbled away while still talking, clearly no longer talking to me, and left the store. I'll never forget that crazy lady and the way she had lipstick smeared all around her mouth. Also, the girl who got in a wreck was fine but received injuries and a new car from the other driver's insurance for the trouble. Hold up, the other guy's insurance company gave her injuries and gave her a new car? Huh? Story 2. I missed my flight off Kauai and got on the next flight to Oahu. Flight was 20 minutes. Takeoff was fine and we were ascending normally until the plane jolted with such severity as I rose out of my seat. I saw a flight attendant hit their head on the ceiling. People started screaming, the plane was tossed up and down and whipped side to side. I grabbed the arms to my chair like it was a jetpack and held on for dear life. And this continued on for minutes, and all I could think was, this is how I end. I'm not even supposed to be on this flight. What a terrible way to end this vacation. Eventually it stopped and the pilot came on over the intercom and apologized for the turbulence and told us the drink service would be suspended. Don't care about the juice at this point, buddy. Just get this plane on the ground. Story 3. Got fired while on paid vacation leave to spend the weekend celebrating my 21st birthday. So I get home from the bar around 3 a.m., wake up at 4 a.m. because my phone is ringing and conversation goes like this. Hello? Hey, Mike, it's boss. We need you to come in at 6 to help open. No one else will do it. Boss, I just got home from the bar. I'm still hammered. Just until 9. I just need you until 9. I'm hammered. It's my birthday weekend. I asked off months ago. But no one else will come in. I'm hammered and on vacation. Please, Mike, please. Oh my God, for Christ's sake, just till 9? Just until 9. Fine, I'll get up and take a shower and call a cab. Thank you, I'll see you at 6. I opened the bakery department and as an added surprise, the coffee bar, which I was not trained to do, and worked both departments alone for 2 hours serving customers. 9 rolls around, boss calls me into the back office as I'm clocking out and fires me on the spot for being at work smelling like drinks and asks me to clean out my locker. Looking back, I was supposed to get my annual raise 4 days later, and she knew I'd be hammered, so she set me up to work 3 hours so she didn't have to give me a raise. Story 4. When I was in middle school, my mom went to work before I woke up, so I always got myself to school alone. On this particular rainy, windy day, I decided to accidentally sleep until 11 a.m. I live in northern Colorado where there are hardly any tornadoes, but when I turned on the TV, there was a serious tornado warning for my exact area. We lived in a tiny apartment on the 3rd floor and all the neighbors were kind of sketchy, so I was alone and panicking, just wishing I had gone to school. By then, the weather was too severe to walk the mile to my school, so I hid in the bathroom and accepted my fate, and eventually the weather cleared up. Ha! Instant karma for not going to school. Story 5. I had one very recently. I was at work, doing very little, like full-screen games little, and my boss walked up to us. He asked if I could go cover the IT help desk as someone had gone home sick. It's not my job. I'm a server admin, but I'm still in internal IT, and I couldn't really say no because I was playing games at work. Oh God, the amount of grief I got from people. My whole day was spent saying, I don't know how to do that. I'm not even supposed to be here today. Most people were fine. A few thought I was new, but there were some real schmucks. I don't know how those help desk guys do it. It's hard work, and you meet some real idiots even though it's a huge IT company. Story 6. This is long, but please bear with me. I offered to cover on a day I didn't normally work so my coworker could spend time with her family across the state. It was also the day we were training a new girl. I walk in and the one other coworker there starts filling me in on the day before. Apparently the new hire was all over the map and kept going to the bathroom for 20 to 30 minutes at a time, multiple times over a 6-hour shift. It was a doctor's office and we opened for the day, half day, so opening at 1, and she's not here. Not exactly the best impression when you're still training. Half an hour goes by and she says she's walking there and starts rambling. She lives literally a block and a half from the office, so I don't know what she's talking about. My coworker pulled her aside and said she can't keep taking super long breaks unless she has medical problems or stomach issues. She gets it, completely understands, and apologizes. Then she takes off her blazer and reveals the worst outfit I've ever seen for work. She's talking like crazy and won't be quiet or focus on anything. Highlights during the few hours she was there: touched a patient's back because she wanted to see if her leggings felt as soft as they look. Flirted with a man that was 70 and married, and then when he didn't respond, grabbed him and tried to force herself on him. Said she needed to get something from her boyfriend real quick. Parked in our back lot for 30 minutes where no one could see her. When she came back from her parking lot escapades, her entire personality was mellow and dropping until she just stopped functioning. She stared catatonically at the computer screen for 40 minutes while we discussed what to do about it, ended up making an excuse and having the doctors tell her to leave. As she left, she went to go say goodbye to one of the docs and was slurring her words, and for some reason, at 5:30 in the evening, told him, "Bye, have good mornings," and then left. She then called me multiple times at the office sobbing because she was fired. I wasn't even supposed to be the one working that day. Story 7. Worked at McDonald's in high school. Manager called me and asked me to work a breakfast shift on Saturday morning. I figured sure, the manager was pretty cool and I would be out of there in a few hours. They have me taking orders and money at the back drive-thru window. Car pulls up and it was this old lady. We had the strangest conversation I've had at that place. It goes, me, welcome to blah 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 blah. I'm sure we all know how it goes. Her, hello, did you know you still have your V card? Me, not one, but have to be nice, so I am? Her, yes, I am, you are, we all are. Me, getting curious now. Oh, how do you know all this? Her, the people told me. They are all around us and they know that we all are. Me, oh, well, it's good that you told me. Her, they had a meeting and we are going to the place for the V's. Me, that's great, but you gotta order now. Her, oh, I'll have a tea. She then pulled forward and proceeded to have the exact same conversation with me again at the window. Asked for the manager and told her about her new vacation spot as well. It was this old lady and all the makeup she had on was hot pink. Story 8. A bit late, but I love telling this story. Some background: I'm working part-time at a candy store chain while in college. We're not exactly a purveyor of fine, exotic sweets, but there is a fancy chocolate store on the other side of the shopping center. My boss called me one day to help set up a display that she was too short to reach. I'm annoyed already, but I need the cash, so I go in. I'm working up on a stepladder, moving heavy displays when an elderly woman of about 65 years of age walks in. Me, from the stepladder, hi, welcome to IT Sucrose, let me know if you need help. Old woman pokes me repeatedly, almost knocking me off the ladder. Where are the fancy brand name truffles we have never sold? Me, I'm sorry ma'am, we don't carry fancy truffles, but they do have a store just across the bridge. Woman, yes you do, I bought them here 2 weeks ago from the little Asian girl. Me, friends with Jessie, who works at the fancy chocolate store across the bridge and is already annoyed with the old woman. Ma'am, I'm sorry, we never sold fancy truffles here, but they have a store directly across the bridge. I'd be happy to tell you how to get there. Woman, miss, are you new or just stupid? My anxious and non-confrontational schmuck with the biggest customer service smile. Well, I've just been here over a year, but hopefully college will help me with the second one. Rude old woman stormed out and I laughed with what is now my favorite work story. And if you're enjoying the video so far, please don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button for more videos just like this. Story 9. This just happened yesterday, actually. I work at a cosmetic chain store and usually like my job. It's easy, I love cosmetics, and people are sometimes not schmucks. I read my schedule wrong and show up for a 4 to 9 shift that is actually next week. My boss says enthusiastically, well, we can use you since you're here. She's too cute and bubbly to deny, so I agree to stay. All is well through my shift until 8:32 p.m. when this awful woman comes into our store with her equally as awful children. For those of you that work retail, she is the woman that we have camera screenshots of hanging in the back office that say, avoid this woman. She takes her time browsing items that she will either bring to the register and change her mind about, or return a few days later. She is a nuisance in our store and actually causes us to lose out on hundreds of dollars because she's just bad. At 8:44, she's screaming for her children in the store. One of her children, age 6, is literally playing in the street outside the store. The other, age 4, is soiling in not one but both of our restrooms. At 8:56, I asked the woman 3 times if she needed help finding anything, seeing as though we close promptly at 9 p.m., and she stays past the store closing at least once a week. At 9:07, she has kindly exited the store, and one of her children has left a delightful amount of mess in both of our restrooms. The smell is putrid, verging on unbearable. At 9:09, I was asked to clean the mess from both of our restrooms. It is everywhere. The walls, the door handles, the light switches, the sink, the rug, the hand dryers. Surely enough, I cleaned both restrooms because I know that one day my retail work grind will end. However, I clean these restrooms miserably and with my shirt pulled up over my nose because the smell is actually that disgusting. The next morning, I also worked and found even more mess in the middle of our store. I wish I could say this is the first time her children have soiled all over our store and the first time I have cleaned said mess. I wasn't even supposed to be here today. The very next day, I called our local child services because this woman is doing a disservice to herself and to her innocent children. Story 10. This is too long. I'm sorry. Enjoy my suffering? So, I'm in the next province over on a church trip sleepover course type thing. I drank an entire big plastic water bottle before bed and I didn't whiz that morning when I got up. First mistake. So it gets to about 10 a.m. and I really need to whiz, but I'm sitting in a seminar room that I snuck into because I really wanted to hear this guy preach. We're just about to hear his talk, but he's running late. I stand up to go to the bathroom just as he walks in and I think, oh, that's okay, I can wait. But I already need to whiz way worse than I've ever needed to whiz in my entire life. But I can't be rude because I already snuck into this seminar that I'm not even supposed to be in. So I sit down and listen for like 10 minutes, but my bladder hurts so bad that I consider whizzing on the floor because I'm just in that much pain. I have to wait another 35 until the seminar is over, plus another 5 for him to finish praying. At this point, I'm close to tears. I literally sprint out of the room at the end and find the bathroom and whizzed for a very long time. We then hang around the mall for a few hours, putting in time before the next event. I stop at various chairs to cry, hyperventilate, and feel super guilty for making people look at me, but the pain is so bad I don't know what to do. Eventually, we all go back to the event and listen to the next person speak for a while. But at this point, I'm just in so much pain. It's impossible to deal with. I leave and go out into the forum to walk around and try and pull myself together and stop crying. But my friend comes out after me and I start crying again because at that point it had been for like 4 hours of constant pain. I start to hyperventilate and freak out worse this time because I don't know how to make it stop. And ministers 1 and 2 come out to try to help. I drink a little water and explain what happened while hyperventilating, and minister 2 decides she'll drive me around to look for a walk-in clinic. It takes 2 hours. It was not a fun car ride. We finally find a hospital and I go inside, but between the car door and the hospital door, the pain completely subsides. I had just experienced 6 hours of the worst pain I'd ever felt. For us to just arrive there and it was gone. I'm 100% sure that no one will believe me except the people who saw me. So anyway, I get seen, whizzed in a cup, and they tell me that basically my bladder went from so full to so empty that it went crazy. And my anxiety made it go crazy, and it going crazy made me have anxiety. I'm sure they use more medical terms than that. We learned it's called a bladder spasm. Minister 2 and I sit for another 2 hours in emergency waiting for the results before we decide they don't really matter. Everyone else we came on the trip with is already home, so we begin driving back to our province. Story 11. My best friend and I worked retail together at 16, 17. During the Christmas season one night, we got off work pretty late and were asked to open the store the next day as 3 of our seasonal people had been let go that day. On the way home, we get in a car accident. I was okay, but he was knocked unconscious for a bit. We spent a few hours in the hospital and he was eventually released. He could have chosen not to go to work in the morning, but decided to be a trooper and power through. They assigned him some light-duty type work, stocking the registers with receipt paper and gift cards, unlocking electronic cases and spider wraps, and some light cleaning. At one point, we got really busy while he was wiping down registers, spray cleaner, and paper towels, and he was asked to hop on the mobile register on a rolling cart. He put down his cleaner, went to the register, and went to plug it in. He was electrocuted and the power at the registers went out. To this day, I don't know what happened exactly, if the cord was frayed or if he had too much spray cleaner on his hand, or just had weird contact with the plug. The same ambulance crew from the night before showed up and were surprised to see him. They laughed after determining he was okay. Story 12. I worked at a convenience store on a college campus. We had a difficult time keeping employees because A, all of our employees were in fraternities and they liked to have parties on the weekend, and B, we had a strict work policy that basically got you fired if you were late, didn't show up, or had to leave your shift early. Also, you could be fired if you got your shift covered and that person didn't show up. So one Saturday morning, I got a call from the manager saying one of the guys didn't come in, and she told me I needed to open. It was her job to cover any shift that wasn't being worked, but she was extremely lazy. I told her I wasn't feeling well and wouldn't be able to go in, but she got angry and basically told me that if I didn't go in, I wouldn't be scheduled for any hours for the next 2 weeks. So I went in after she promised to relieve me after 2 hours. 3 hours later, I'm still at work, my manager isn't answering her phone, and I've started retching. Half an hour later, I end up retching all over the front counter. I lock up to clean everything, and my manager comes in and starts yelling because the door is locked. I explain why, and she tells me that retching is no excuse for not working my job. I wish I had retched on her. If the manager's policy is no excuses, maybe she should have a no employees store instead. Story 13. A very good, not supposed to be here. Used to do shift work, and one of my colleagues went off sick. I took some of their shifts one week. One of them was an early afternoon start, finishing at 10 p.m. Shift finishes, find out a friend in another department who lives 2 bus stops down from me finishes at 10:02. He planned to walk home, but I managed to convince him to get the bus with me, lending him the fare since we both finished later and it's rather chilly outside, which was a fabulous idea as 10 minutes into the ride, this friend began to have his first epileptic fit in years. Cue panic and the bus pulling up to wait for a paramedic. Ended up staying with him all night at the hospital to make sure he was okay. Didn't get home till 6 a.m. on a day when I'd not even planned to leave the house originally. If that other colleague hadn't been off sick and I wasn't the one picking up that shift, I dread to think what would have happened. Whether my friend would have had a fit somewhere on this massive, long stretch of road at night alone, when at most there's 2 to 3 cars every 5 minutes. Story 14. I used to work in a printing company as an assistant manager of the digital printing floor. Because I worked longer hours, 9 a.m. until 8 p.m., I used to get Fridays off for a 3-day weekend. So one Friday morning at about 8 a.m., there was a rap at my door. I answer it, and it's my mate who usually picks me up for work. He explains that the boss called him up to get me, without calling me, that morning because they needed me in for a huge order that needed to be out by Saturday. I was mad but understanding. I hopped in the car. I get into work and the order is huge and everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Machine jams, parts breaking, files getting lost, etc. I'm pulling out my own hair. And to top it all off, what does the boss do? Lets everyone else but me and my mate go home at regular 1 p.m. Friday quitting time. We had to sort this order out all by ourselves. We were there from 9 a.m. on Friday until 6 a.m. on Saturday, then we had to deliver it. We ended up parking the van at the side of the road after making the delivery and sleeping in the back. And throughout the whole day, I was literally quoting Clerks, just going, I'm not even supposed to be here today. And if you can relate to any one of these stories, here's more for you. YouTube thinks you're going to love this. I'll catch you in that video, and thanks for hanging with me on this one.